My name is Jennifer Lee, and I'm 29 years old. I've always believed there's a quiet kind of power in being underestimated, the power to prepare while everyone else performs. That night, I learned just how far performance can go when the person you love is the one doing it. Ethan said we were just dropping by at Jessica's place, an easy Friday. Wine, soft music, a few of his college friends I never quite clicked with, but always tried to. Jessica lived in one of those polished high-rises that smelled faintly of eucalyptus and fresh paint, the kind of place where glassware chimed like a chorus every time someone told a story. I stood there in my work flats with a dish towel in my purse, because I had offered to help plate appetizers, and tried not to think about the spreadsheet I left open on my monitor, the one holding 6 months of my life in color-coded cells. "Jen!" Jessica air-kissed both my cheeks. "You look so efficient." Laughter all around. Not cruel, just effortless. Ethan slipped an arm around my waist. He smelled like cedar and the cologne I bought him for his birthday, the one he'd said made him feel like a closer. He looked handsome, polished, a man made for the glossy surface of evenings like this. I, apparently, looked efficient. We moved through the small talk. Market volatility, ski trips to Tahoe, a new gastropub no one could get into. Someone named Derek explained why everyone should be in crypto again. I nodded at appropriate intervals, the way you learn to survive rooms you know aren't built for you. It happened between the second and third glass of wine, somewhere between Jessica's tirade about airline lounges and a story about a disastrous Dubai itinerary. A woman I'd met twice, Claire, I think, turned to Ethan, all teeth and tan lines. "So, what does your girlfriend do again?" she asked, not quite looking at me. Ethan's eyes flicked to mine, then away. A smile unfurled across his face, the lazy kind he wore when he was about to deliver a punchline. "Oh, Jennifer?" He swirled his wine. "She..." A beat, a pause, held just long enough to sharpen the edge. "She keeps the corporate lights on from a tiny little cubicle. It's adorable. Spreadsheets and paper pushing. Very dependable." The word dependable landed like a smirk in the room. Laughter rose, polite, performative, then bolder because no one stopped it. Jessica put a hand to her chest. "So she's like a corporate secretary?" More laughter. Someone did a mock typing motion. Someone else said, "God bless the backbone of America." Every muscle in my body wanted to curl inward. Instead, I smiled, small, even, and said, "Yep." I sit there, typing away, while the real power players make the big moves. I made it sound like a joke. I pretended my heart wasn't thudding so hard it startled my breath. Ethan glanced at me, something flickering behind his eyes. Victory or relief, or the familiar high of having a room on a string. He lifted his glass to me like a toast. "She's being modest. She keeps my calendar in check, too." That got a real laugh. It was so easy for him, molding me into a bit, carving my work down into something cute and safe that made him look bigger. The room kept talking. The room kept praising. The room forgot I was a person. I counted the grooves on the wine glass stem with my thumb and did not let myself look at the door. I breathed. In, out, smile. Learn the rhythm. Laugh when they laugh. I could feel something inside me standing up very quietly. A memory surfaced, unbidden. The day I learned to carry my trumpet case through the jeers of a middle school hallway without dropping eye contact with the floor. Efficiency isn't just about checklists. It's about knowing where to put your pain so you can keep walking. Ethan kept performing. "No, seriously," he said. "Jen's a pro at making everything deliverable. It's cute how she color codes our expenses. We have categories for categories." He winked at Jessica. "Someone's got to do the boring parts, right?" They all laughed again. I could smell the lemon zest in the crostini and the metallic heat of embarrassment. My ears rang, then steadied. I looked at Ethan, the careful fade in his haircut, the watch I gave him when he was between titles, the smile he saved for rooms that could applaud, and I saw it clearly for the first time. He didn't just want to be loved. He wanted to be impressive, and he didn't know the difference between the two. "Bathroom?" I murmured to Jessica, who pointed down the hallway without breaking eye contact with a story about limited edition sneakers. I walked past framed photos, boats, champagne, curated sunsets, closed the door behind me, and pressed my back against cool tile. I watched my reflection in the mirror. I thought of the email in my drafts folder, the one I'd been writing at dawn before the city woke. Polite, crisp, grateful, ready for a signature that would move me across the country. I thought of the quiet phone calls with a manager who saw what my data had done for a failing division. I thought of the apartment I'd toured on a layover 2 weeks ago, where the windows faced a river and the air smelled like rain. In a different story, I would have stormed back into that living room. I would have clipped my words and made them bleed. In this one, I washed my hands, fixed a stray hair, and practiced a smile that didn't show my teeth. When I returned, Ethan slid his hand across my lower back. "You good, babe?" "Perfect," I said, and kissed his cheek so lightly it could be mistaken for gratitude. His eyes softened, that familiar relief. "There you are, my reasonable girl." And a rush of tenderness washed over me so unexpectedly, I almost forgave him for not being who I needed him to be. Almost. The night blurred to its end the way nights do when you've given the room what it wanted. Coats, elevators, air that tasted like metal and freedom. On the sidewalk, Ethan laced our fingers. "You were amazing tonight," he said. "So chill." "I'm glad," I said. In the rideshare home, the city slid by in grids of light. Ethan scrolled through photos, drafting the version of the evening he'd publish later. "We should go to Jessica's cabin next month," he said. "Couples thing." "Sure. And can you remind me to email that vendor? You always have the list." "I always do." I watched our reflection in the window. Him bright and scrolling, me steady and quiet. 2 people in the same car, already taking different exits. We reached his place. A pair of designer sneakers sat by the door like dogs waiting to be walked. He kicked them aside, tossed his phone onto the counter, and opened a bottle of seltzer. "Want one?" he asked, casual, like nothing had happened, like he hadn't just made me the punchline to a joke that would still be echoing in my chest at 3 a.m. "I'm okay," I said, and leaned on the counter across from him. He grinned, stepped toward me. "You know I'm kidding, right?" His voice softened, playing the part of the good boyfriend making sure the scene ties up neatly. "They love you." "You love that they love me," I said, matching his softness. He blinked. The moment teetered, his pride, my patience, before he laughed it off and pulled me into a hug. "You're the best, Jen. Seriously, I don't know what I'd do without you." I closed my eyes against his shoulder and let my arms fold around him. I thought of the spreadsheet again, its neat columns, its totals. I thought of how easy it is to subtract a number from a ledger and how quickly the balance changes. Later, in his bed, while he slept with the entire sky of the city reflected in the window, I lay awake and listened to the radiator hiss. It sounded like a secret being told through the pipes. I picked up my phone, opened a blank note, and typed a sentence I didn't let myself say out loud. "He thinks I'm dependable. He doesn't know I'm leaving." I let the words sit there, a small lighthouse on a black screen. My pulse slowed. There was a steadiness inside me that I hadn't felt in months, something like a shoreline. In the morning, I made coffee the way he likes. 2 sugars, splash of oat milk, and placed it by his laptop. He shuffled into the kitchen, kissed the top of my head. "Angel," he murmured, scrolling through a calendar I color-coded for him last week when he said he felt underwater. "Don't be late," I said. "You've got that 10 a.m. with Mason." "Right." He flashed me a grateful smile and walked to the shower, humming. I took my mug to the window and watched the city open its eyes. A delivery truck hissed to a stop. A woman in a red coat hurried across the street like a streak of paint. I could smell rain somewhere I couldn't see yet. My phone buzzed. A new email previewed on the lock screen. Subject: Offer package and relocation support. From a name I had learned to trust. Body. First line. "We're thrilled to confirm." I didn't open it. Not yet. I let the words exist like a heartbeat under my thumb. When Ethan came back, he wrapped me in a towel-damp hug. "Dinner tonight?" he asked. "Maybe we hit that place with the truffle fries. Jessica might join." I kissed his jaw. "Sounds good," I said. And it did. It all sounded very, very good. Because this is what he never understood. I don't need to raise my voice to change the ending. I don't need to announce the door before I walk through it. Some exits look exactly like ordinary mornings. I washed our 2 coffee cups, dried them, and returned them to their hooks. The plan in motion. For the next 2 weeks, Ethan thought everything was perfect. He had no idea I was quietly rearranging the pieces of my life, one column, one document, one silence at a time. The morning after that dinner party, I walked into my office building and felt a calm I hadn't felt in years. The familiar hum of fluorescent lights, the muted click of keyboards. It didn't feel dull anymore. It felt like mine. These cubicles that he mocked? They were where I built something he could never understand. Credibility, quiet power, a future. I sat at my desk, opened my inbox, and stared at the email I hadn't dared open the night before. Subject: Offer package and relocation support. Body: We're thrilled to confirm your promotion to Senior Data Strategy Lead. The position will be based at our new branch in Seattle. Seattle, 1,000 miles away. A clean start that looked exactly like freedom. I clicked accept before I could second guess it. Then I minimized the window and started my day as usual, answering emails, updating client sheets, every motion deliberate, controlled. It would take exactly 3 weeks to relocate, 3 weeks to become invisible. That evening, Ethan came home late. His cologne was sharp, expensive, unfamiliar, different from the one I'd given him. Rough day? I asked. He dropped his briefcase on the couch and smiled, too wide. You could say that. Had drinks with Mia and the team after work. You remember Mia, right? I remembered her. The fun ex from his stories. The one who still commented on his photos with inside jokes. Of course, I said, smiling just enough. She's killing it at her new job. Total boss energy, he said, pouring himself a drink. You two would get along. Would we? Or would she be another person who only saw me as his shadow? I didn't ask, I just nodded. Ethan never noticed how silence could slice sharper than words. Later that night, while he watched highlights on his phone, I sat beside him with my laptop open and an Excel sheet glowing quietly on the screen. To him, it probably looked like I was working late again. He didn't know that each row I deleted was his name off our shared Netflix account, his card removed from my Uber profile, his half of the rent payment transferred to savings. Column after column, I erased him out of my life. I wasn't angry. Anger fades. But disappointment, it calcifies into something harder, something permanent. The next few days, he grew more careless. He texted less. He left early for meetings and came home smelling like hotel lobby perfume. One evening, I found a text preview on his phone. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, M. He turned just as I saw it, but I didn't flinch. I looked up, met his eyes, and smiled. Everything okay? He asked. Perfect, I said. Just a long day. He grinned, relieved, kissed the top of my head. You're amazing. You never get jealous. I try not to waste time on things that don't matter, I said. He laughed. God, I love that about you. He had no idea what those words meant anymore. I started calling the movers in the mornings before work, booked flights, set up my new apartment lease. Every time I hung up, a strange thrill ran through me, a mix of guilt and liberation. At night, I would cook dinner for him like always. He'd talk about office gossip, about a coworker's new watch, about his future. And I'd nod, asking gentle questions, making sure he never saw the distance growing between us. He thought I was still orbiting him, but I'd already left his atmosphere. One Friday, Ethan walked in wearing that smug post-bar smile, the one he wore when he'd been admired. Guess what? He said. Mia's pitching this crazy new campaign idea. She said I should help her lead it. Could be huge. I tilted my head. You two must make a great team. He grinned, mistaking calm for consent. You're not mad? Why would I be? You deserve people who appreciate your talents. He laughed, unaware of the echo behind those words. That night, while he showered, I checked his phone one last time. Not to read his messages, I didn't need to. I just wanted to see the name Mia one final time, to etch it in memory. Not out of jealousy, but clarity. People like Ethan don't cheat because they're missing something. They cheat because they think you'll never leave. By the second week, my exit plan was flawless. Flight booked. Lease signed. Transfer approved. Goodbye unsaid. Every night before bed, I'd write small to-do lists in my notes app. Cancel joint accounts. Forward mail. Delete shared calendar. Smile. Pretend. Wait. Ethan began mentioning someday plans again. Vacations. Condos. Engagement talk whispered in the dark. I'd trace small circles on his arm and whisper, we'll see. He thought it was affection. It was a countdown. 3 nights before my flight, I came home to find him on the couch with his laptop open, smiling at a photo. Mia's arm was draped around his shoulders in the picture, posted publicly, tagged boldly. He saw me standing there and clicked away too quickly. "Old photo," he said. I nodded. "Sure." He exhaled with relief when I didn't press further, and that was the moment I knew he'd never learn any other way. He didn't notice I'd stopped saying I love you. He didn't notice the extra suitcase missing from the closet. He didn't even notice the look on my face when I finally realized I was done. That Sunday, I set my phone on airplane mode, stared at my packed boxes, and took one last walk through our apartment. The walls looked the same, but the air felt lighter. I'd replaced every trace of our life together with order, neat labels, signed forms, clean closure. Before bed, I texted him, "Don't stay up late working. Big day tomorrow." He replied with a heart emoji. I smiled, set the phone face down, and whispered into the dark, "You have no idea." Tomorrow I would wake up and make coffee like usual. He'd go to work like usual. Everything would look the same. Until it wasn't. He'd never see me packing the last box, never hear the door click shut behind me. Because leaving isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a spreadsheet closing, a suitcase zipping, a flight taking off before anyone knows you're gone. It's strange how quickly pretending becomes a habit. Within a week, my silence had its own rhythm. Wake up, make coffee, smile, nod, plan my escape. Ethan thought the softness in my voice was love. He didn't realize it was closure rehearsing itself. That Monday morning, he walked out of the bedroom already dressed, humming some pop song he always played when he felt successful. His tie was crooked. I fixed it for him, my fingers brushing his collarbone. "There," I said. He smiled, that boyish grin that used to make my heart stumble. Now it only made me tired. "Don't forget dinner at Jessica's Friday," he said. "She's planning something big." I looked up from my mug. "With Mia." "Of course," he said, like it was obvious. "She's part of the team now. Be nice, okay?" My lips curved. "Always." He kissed my cheek and left, whistling. The door clicked shut behind him, and I exhaled the breath I'd been holding for months. At work, my manager, Caroline, called me into her office. She smiled, the kind of genuine smile you don't see often in corporate halls. "Jennifer, your relocation paperwork's finalized. The Seattle branch is thrilled. You'll start next month." I thanked her, keeping my voice even, calm. She studied me for a moment. "You seem peaceful. Most people are nervous before a big move." I paused. "Peaceful feels new to me," I said softly. Caroline nodded, as if she understood. "You've earned it." That night, Ethan came home with takeout and a bottle of wine. "You deserve a treat," he said. "You've been working too hard." He didn't know that the project I was working on was my own disappearance. He poured the wine, half talking, half performing. "Jessica said Mia might get promoted soon. She's brilliant, honestly. Kind of intimidating, right?" He said it like a test. I smiled, leaned back, and whispered, "You've always been drawn to people who make you feel small." He froze, unsure if I meant it as an insult or observation. Before he could respond, I sipped my wine and said lightly, "She must be really impressive." He laughed it off. "You're not jealous, are you?" "Not even a little," I said. "You'll understand why soon." He didn't. He never would. Over the next days, I began pulling away in quiet ways that he mistook for devotion. When he forgot to call, I didn't remind him. When he came home late, I didn't ask why. I let the distance grow until it became invisible, like air between glass. He'd touch my shoulder absently, and I'd smile back like nothing had changed. It was almost poetic how easy it was to make him comfortable while I vanished. Wednesday night, I found myself sitting on the couch while he scrolled through his phone beside me, the light from the screen reflected in his eyes. Mia's name flashed once, twice, 3 times. He didn't even bother to hide it anymore. "Do you ever think about us?" I asked quietly. He looked up. "What do you mean?" "I mean, where we're headed." He shrugged. "We're good, right?" I nodded, smiling. "Yeah, we are." Then I turned my gaze back to the TV. He never noticed my hand slip off his. Friday arrived, Jessica's dinner, the same polished laughter, the same curated crowd. Only this time I didn't shrink. I watched. Mia was there, glowing, confident, that effortless kind of charm that fills a room. She hugged Ethan too long. He didn't pull away. Everyone noticed, but no one said a word. "So, Jen," Jessica said, "still in that, what do you call it, data cubicle world?" I smiled. "For now," Ethan chuckled. "She's married to Excel." The laughter was softer this time, unsure. I set my wine down. Actually, I said, my tone polite but steady, I just got promoted. Senior Data Strategy Lead. Seattle office. The table went silent for a heartbeat. Ethan blinked. Wait, what? I tilted my head, pretending confusion. Didn't I tell you? Mia smiled too quickly. Seattle? That's far. It is, I said. But sometimes you have to go where you're valued. Jessica clapped. That's amazing. When do you leave? Soon, I said. Very soon. Ethan's hand found my knee under the table. A grip too tight, too late. Can we talk about this later? He whispered. I smiled without turning to him. Of course. For the rest of the night, he tried to laugh louder, to keep up the illusion, but the cracks were already showing. When we got home, he started pacing. You're just going to leave without talking to me first? I didn't know I needed your permission. Jen, come on, this is huge. You can't just what? I said, stepping closer. Do something for myself? He ran a hand through his hair. I thought we were building a life here. We were, I said softly. But I think you stopped showing up to it a long time ago. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. I could see the panic flicker behind his eyes. Not love, ownership slipping. I brushed past him, calm as ever. Don't worry, Ethan, I said, turning off the kitchen light. You'll understand soon enough. That night, I lay beside him one last time. He fell asleep, facing away from me, breathing steady. I memorized the sound, not out of nostalgia, but finality. It was the sound of a chapter closing. At dawn, I woke before him. The suitcase was already packed. I made coffee, placed his cup on the counter, 2 sugars, splash of oat milk, exactly the way he liked it. Then I picked up my bag, took one last look at our apartment, and smiled. When the elevator doors closed, my reflection in the metal panels didn't look efficient anymore. It looked free, because sometimes revenge isn't fire, it's absence. And silence, when timed right, echoes louder than any scream. The weeks that followed Jennifer's disappearance blurred together for Ethan. He moved through them like a man who'd misplaced his shadow, functioning just enough to fool himself, but hollow underneath. At first, he tried to keep up the act. He posted smiling photos, went out for drinks, told his friends she'd taken some time off work. It bought him 2 days of sympathy, 3 of gossip, and a lifetime of irony. By the next week, everyone knew the truth. Jennifer hadn't taken time off. She'd been promoted, relocated, respected. Ethan became the punchline at the same kind of parties where he used to shine. Didn't your girlfriend move without telling you? Someone asked, half laughing, half pitying. He smiled too tightly. Yeah, she's spontaneous like that. Inside, the words turned to ash. One evening, he texted Mia, the one who'd once been so eager to laugh at Jennifer's expense. Drinks tonight? Her reply came 10 minutes later. Can't. Busy. He scrolled through her profile later that night. A new guy, flashier job, same grin. He stared at the photo, realizing for the first time that people like Mia never look back, and people like Jennifer never need to. A few days later, Ethan got called into his boss's office. He'd missed deadlines, skipped meetings, lost focus. His boss sighed. Ethan, you're distracted. If you don't want to be here, just say it. He nodded mutely, not trusting his voice. That night, when he came home, the apartment felt like a museum, one filled with artifacts of a life that didn't belong to him anymore. The couch she'd picked, the framed map she'd loved, the faint smell of lavender from a candle stub she'd forgotten to take. He sat there until the city went dark, remembering how he used to tease her for labeling every box, every file, every drawer. Now he understood. She'd been labeling her escape route. The texts he sent her got shorter over time. Hope you're okay. Just wanted to say congratulations. I miss you. She never replied. Then one afternoon, his phone buzzed. His heart jumped. Her name. But it wasn't her. It was an automated message from their old joint account. Account permanently closed. He laughed, then broke. That was Jennifer's final line. Clean, administrative, irreversible. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, Jennifer's mornings began with fog rolling over the Seattle skyline. Her apartment overlooked a harbor, not a skyline of noise and ego. Her desk faced a window where rain shimmered softly instead of fluorescent lights. She sipped her coffee, opened her laptop, and smiled when she saw her new email signature. Jennifer Lee, Senior Data Strategy Lead. Her coworkers respected her. Her manager trusted her. No one laughed when she said she loved spreadsheets. They asked for her opinion. They listened. Sometimes that was enough to feel like healing. But there were nights she'd still wake up and remember that dinner party. The laughter, the smirk. Not with pain anymore, but clarity. That was the night she'd been freed without knowing it. 3 months later, her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Hey, I heard you're doing great. I'm sorry for everything." She read it once, twice. Her thumb hovered over the screen, then she deleted it. No anger, no satisfaction, just peace. Because closure doesn't always need a witness. Sometimes it's just silence, and the knowledge that you walked away while they were still laughing. Back in the city, Ethan eventually stopped telling people she'd left. He started saying, "She outgrew me." It was the closest he'd ever come to honesty. He passed Jessica's apartment one evening, the same building where he'd humiliated her months before. He glanced up, half expecting to hear the clink of wine glasses and laughter spilling from the balcony, but it was quiet. He stood there for a long time before finally walking away. In her new apartment, Jennifer kept one photo on her desk, not of Ethan, but of herself, smiling in the sunlight. It reminded her that survival doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's a calm face at a dinner table while everyone else is laughing, a steady hand signing a transfer form, a suitcase closing in silence. She took a slow breath, closed her laptop, and whispered, "Thank you for showing me what respect isn't." Outside, the rain began to fall again, soft, constant, cleansing. And somewhere far away, a man sat alone in an apartment full of echoes, finally realizing what she had tried to teach him. People like Jennifer don't leave because they stop caring. They leave because they finally remember they deserve better.